Hello everyone. So this is the third video of our chapter Adolescence and Puberty. So in this video we'll be learning about role of hormones. Hormones are chemical secretion which are secreted by glands for a particular function. So in the last video, we discussed about endocrine glands and pituitary glands. So endocrine glands, what are endocrine glands? Hormones are secreted by certain glands for a specific function. So the glands which secrete hormones are called endocrine glands. So various example of endocrine glands are adrenal glands, thyroid, thymus, endocrines. This is endocrine system which is majorly consists of hypothalamus is the part of our brain. It's a natural control center. So these all are the glands which are governed by endocrine system or endocrine gland. Endocrine gland is the messenger system or secretes hormone directly into the circulatory system for target sites. So this was endocrine glands. Endocrine gland secretes hormones. These are the major glands which comes under endocrine systems, and they secrete hormones directly into the circulatory system. For example, pituitary. So what is pituitary? It is essentially a pea-sized gland located at the base of the brain. So pituitary is in the brain and it is responsible for growth hormone. Growth hormone, as the name suggests, growth. It regulates the body growth, our body growth. So this particular gland, which is pituitary, regulates our growth, which is our height. So if in case there is a less secretion, hypo means less and hyper means more. If there is less secretion for GH, why there is a need to control growth hormone? If there is a less secretion of GH, our height will not grow and there would be a condition called dwarfism. Dwarfism means a lesser height. If there is an oversecretion, then it can lead to gigantism and acromegaly in adults. So acromegaly is a disease which is related to huge body structure, just like gigantism. So pituitary regulates growth hormone, and if there is a hyposecretion, then there will be a condition known as dwarfism. If there is a hypersecretion, then there will be gigantism. Now endocrine glands, thyroid glands. So thyroid, you have often heard your elder talking that I have thyroid, I have hyperthyroid, I have hypothyroid. So this is what it is. It is located near the trachea in neck. So you can see here, it's located here. This is trachea in neck. It produces a hormone called thyroxine, and thyroxine regulates the metabolism of our body. So we discussed about two. So you can make a table and you can write pituitary gland, the function, growth hormone. Then you can write thyroid, the function, it secretes thyroxine, the function, regulating metabolism in the body. Also, just like we discussed, two diseases related to growth hormone. If there is a lesser secretion of thyroxine, which is secreted by thyroid gland, then there will be a condition called goiter. Goiter, you can familiarize goiter with the lack of iodine. So in this case, what happens is this part, it's the thyroid gland is present in the trachea part of the neck region. So if there is a lack of thyroxine, then this part will swell, and this part swells due to lack of iodine, which we name it as goiter. Excess secretion of thyroxine causes hyperthyroidism, which result in high metabolism, protrusion of eyeball. It means instability of eyeballs. So we discussed about two glands till now. At the end, we'll discuss about them all together. So there was thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is present in the trachea region of the neck, and it regulates the function of thyroxine hormone. Thyroid is the gland and thyroxine is the hormone. And if there is deficiency, then goiter disease. If there is excess, then there is hyperthyroidism. So you can see this one is healthy. This is the normal size of this part. But in case of goiter, it swells. So it's a very, very interesting topic here. So metamorphism, we already know what is metamorphism. Conversion of larva or pupa into an adult. It happens in the case of frog life cycle. So this is controlled by insects hormone. So insects have their own hormone. So in a frog, it is regulated by thyroxine, just like thyroxine functions differently in different organisms. So if the water in which the tadpole are growing does not contain iodine, the tadpoles cannot become into an adult. So for example, if water has no iodine and there are tadpoles, then tadpoles will remain tadpoles only. They not convert into adult frog. So this is a very major important factor which we have to consider, because insects have their own hormones, and for example thyroxine is controlling the thyroid glands or the goiter iodine content metabolism in our body. In case of insect, they're regulating their adulthood, their conversion into an adult body. Now, the third type of gland is parathyroid glands. These are present on the backside of thyroid glands. So, thyroid was here, it was in the trachea region of the neck. So, parathyroid is the backside of it. And what they release, for example, it's para. So, they release hormone PTH, and PTH regulates the calcium content of our body. It regulates the calcium ions of our body. However, this hormone results in removal of calcium from bone, making them soft. So, if in case this hormone is secreted in excess means there are various PTH hormones. PTH hormone regulates the calcium levels. If there are excess of hormone, then calcium will be removed from our bones, and our bones is made up of calcium and vitamin D. So if calcium is removed, our bone will become very soft, and it can lead to the rupturing of bone in the form of fracture. So it's important that PTH is released in sufficient amount, not in excess. So any hormone should release in sufficient amounts. Now the pancreas is a very interesting gland, and it's one of my favorite gland to study. This gland produces two hormones. So it has two hormones to regulate, insulin and glucagon. So these two hormones are concerned with just like the glucagon. So glucagon is GLUC, it means glucose, sugar. So it regulates the blood sugar level of our body. If in case there is a deficiency in glucagon or insulin, then our body will suffer from diseases such as diabetes. And diabetes is also of two types. One which is regulated by our sugar level, and second which is regulated by insulin. So diabetes, which happens due to a lesser release of glucagon, there are two types of diabetes. One is regulated by insulin, second is glucagon. So glucagon is the glucose content, or it regulates the blood sugar level. So these are the two hormones which are regulated by pancreas. And if in case your family members suffer from diabetes, you should ask them, find out if it is diabetes mellitus 1 or 2, if it is caused by insulin, if they are taking injection of insulin ingesting insulin externally because their pancreas cannot extract the insulin. Should find out, learn about things more. Now this is our fifth, adrenal gland. So there are two of these, each located on the upper part of the kidney. So you can see this is kidney and this is adrenal gland. And adrenal gland also has two parts. One is cortex and one is medulla. So cortex secretes cortisol that regulates the rate of metabolism. So hormone is cortisol. And medulla releases the adrenaline that prepares the body to face stressful situations. So a very good example is, if you see a dog and the dog tries to catch you, your body will give signals to run. So that particular fight and flight response is done by this particular hormone, adrenaline. Now you know which gland secretes it. It is secreted by adrenal gland, just like name mentioned, adrenaline, and the name of the gland is adrenal gland. Now gonads means gametes, the one which are gonads or gametes. These two are related terms. So in the male we'll be talking about testes, and in the female we'll be talking about ovaries. So it includes testes in male and ovaries in female. So testes secretes male sex organ, which is testosterone. I hope you remember this name by heart now. Ovaries produces the female sex organ, which are there are two, and we only discussed about estrogen. So there is another, which is progesterone, and so these two are secreted by female gonads, female glands. So deficiency of estrogen causes infertility. So you'll see when you'll be moving in your higher studies, you'll learn about menstrual cycle, and you'll see how menstrual cycle is related to fertility and reproduction, and the major role of the hormones are in this particular menstrual cycle. So when the level of estrogen increases and progesterone increases, so menstrual cycle is a 28 days cycle. So in between 14 days, the level of estrogen increases and the body ovulates with the process known as ovulation. So these two factors or two hormones govern the secondary sexual characters and even the fertility in female bodies. Now, action of hormones. So, hormones on reaching the specific target site bring about necessary changes. We know that they affect the target site, specific target site. So, that bring necessary changes to control normal functioning of the body. For example, pituitary releases hormone which stimulate the testes and the ovaries to produce testosterone and estrogen. So, this is a very important point to consider, because we'll see it is being released by our gonads, but that gonads is also governed by our pituitary. So in case pituitary governs the sexual characters in male and female, because pituitary is guiding the role of testosterone and estrogen in males and females respectively. The estrogen and testosterone are released into the bloodstream to reach the target sites, because we are talking about endocrine glands here. At the onset of puberty, target site is stimulated to produce changes in the body. So now you know who secretes the testosterone and estrogen. It's pituitary. Pituitary is the gland which regulates all the hormones. So we discussed about several hormones here and glands. First of all, we have to remember what are endocrine glands. Second, we have to make a table. You have to make a table and you have to write glands here, then hormones and the function. For example, pituitary, it releases growth hormone which regulates growth. Adrenaline, which have two parts, cortex releases cortisol, medulla releases adrenaline. And you have to write the function. Cortisol perform metabolism and adrenaline is responsible for our response in stressful condition. You have to write about parathyroid glands. Parathyroid releases PTH hormone which regulates calcium. And then there are thyroid which regulates the growth of thyroxine. In case of deficiency, it can lead to goiter diseases, which is the explosion of the neck region, and in case of excess release, it leads to hyperthyroidism. Even in the case of pituitary, we discussed about the less and the more release of the pituitary glands hormone, which is growth hormone. So these were all the glands which regulates the different sorts of hormones. Hormones are specific, target specific. They should be released in specific quantity to ensure the normal functioning of the body. So here we come to an end of this video. I hope this video is clear, and it is the most important topic, and you'll learn about these topic when you're moving to your higher studies. You'll learn about different structure of adrenal gland, you'll learn about cortex, medulla in details. So it's important to clear the base here. So I'll see you in the next video with the next topic.